with us from the Washington Capitals, as well as Bino Ranson from the Maryland Terrapins. And we're having some fun. You can check it all out in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault. But nowhere have they had more radio fun than out in Los Angeles, California this week, where my old pal Mike Harmon from Fox Sports Radio found himself in the middle of a Los Angeles drama story involving the Rams. You know, you're a Chicago guy. You're understated out there in the Midwest. You've been out in L.A. a long time. Works a little differently out there when egos and feelings get hurt now, doesn't it, Mike Harmon?
Well, that's exactly it. As you know, the Rams kind of suffering through another, Jeff Fisher season, which means you're hoping to get somewhere near to 500 because that's what he's been for the vast majority of his career, going back to Tennessee through the time in St. Louis and now here in Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles, look, if you're not going to put a winning product on the field early, or at least give them something to ooh and ah at, i.e. a number one overall pick that you traded a huge bounty of picks for, things are going to go south fast. So certainly in the media, everybody's been at the door in the last couple of weeks, got a little bit of golf, and everybody wondering, hey, where would he be had they actually jumped Case Keenum and let him play earlier in the season? Would he be further along in the development? Would it have stunted him? What's the case? Either way, they want a winner. They want excitement. They want showtime. And Eric Dickerson has a show on our flagship AM 570, LA Sports here, and on Mondays breaks down the team and does so with a critical eye between the tackles and doesn't really, he doesn't take unfair shots. He doesn't call out guys personally, be it coaches or players. Asked as a favor, he had some friends coming. He has their sideline pass, but said I gave him the courtesy call, and then I got the call saying you get nothing. And then Eric Dickerson, the face. I mean, you've been on Radio Row. How many Super Bowls? Who usually has a crowd around him? Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson.
He's recognizable.
Yes.
He's a friendly guy.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yes. Right, but he asks about your fandom, asks where you're from, all that stuff. Like, he gives you more than just, all right, here's a photo, get out of my face. He'll talk to you. And so he's one of those guys. And here in Los Angeles, you need star power. And now you've hit a situation whereby you've told your biggest star, the guy who outsells in jersey sales the current players by, I say conservatively, 30-1. If you walk into any sports bar in Los Angeles, you were out here, you probably saw more Eric Dickerson jerseys than you did anything else having to do with the Rams.
Well, he's the only one people remember. You have to be 65 years old to remember Fred Dreyer and Jack Youngblood, right? I mean, you kind of sort of do, right? I mean, I'm pushing 50, and I have great memories of Eric Dickerson, but he was older than me, you know what I mean? Like, it was even before, it was when I was in high school and going into college, quite frankly.
Right, but at least you have the Hall of Fame resume. And you've seen him out and about.
Hey, why you want to urinate on Eric Dickerson? I mean, to me, it sounded like, this is my story on it. It sounded to me like they wanted him to do the games. They offered him X. He wanted Y. They told him to fly. And now it's a typical Los Angeles poop storm, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think as you go through it, it's, being critical and like just you can't watch the team and not be honest. And that is, I think, one of the things.
Oh, no, you can. There are plenty of places. Come on, dude. I mean, Peter
Angelos
owns the television station here, right? So you go 162 nights where you watch the Orioles for 6 hours a night. No matter how they're playing, they can do nothing wrong. Just ask Mike Warnick. I mean, that is what is expected of you when you take a check from the team, especially when you work for tyrants, right? I mean, Stan Kroenke's not a nice man. We've established that, haven't we?
Right, but he's not taking a check from the team right now. And in the coming years, you're going to be needing to glad hand a lot of big-time contributors to your stadium when they start plunking down. Lord only knows how much PSLs are going to be.
Or don't plunk it down, by the way.
Well, that's the other part is that you have that risk. But just for the assumption of, hey, guys are looking for a show, what Rams player are you going to trot out? And we love Fred Dreyer. Fred Dreyer's entertaining, comes on the shows on Fox Sports Radio.
Tell him that I loved him in Hunter. I'll always love him in Hunter. I've never met him. I've always wanted to meet him. I would be a little starstruck if Fred Dreyer, and I know he's banged around Radio Row, but if Fred Dreyer sat and did 15 minutes of radio with me, I would be a little starstruck. I'm not kidding.
Let me tell you, he's a guy that'll tell you the stories. And you get the unfiltered stories, and your mouth just starts to drop. It's a beautiful thing, both from the Hollywood side and from the NFL
I would buy a PSL if Fred Dreyer were involved, I'm telling you.
But there you go. But, like, you have Dreyer, you have Youngblood, and what else you got?
Yeah.
You got Eric Dickerson. He's the face that everybody's expecting to come walking down the hall with a drink in his hand, a smile, the glasses, and a handshake and a photo opportunity.
29,
That's the guy
dog.
you're expecting.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? You got to play the game. And right now, the Rams, be it Jeff Fisher or if this came from somewhere else in the organization and through Jeff Fisher, it's bad business. I don't see where the win is, especially when you have a tenuous hold on your job.
Well, and then there's the other part where he said he wouldn't attend a game as long as Jeff Fisher is the coach. He's only going to miss a handful of games here. I mean, because Jeff Fisher's not going to be the coach long, I guess, unless he and Stan have some secret handshake agreement, right?
Well, and that was the thing, right? He's the transition guy. He's moved before. He knows Los Angeles with the USC ties, so he brings him back. And then you stash Jared Goff for 9 weeks. You finally let him play. And the first game wasn't throwing anything beyond 10 yards. A couple of good throws this past week, but again, they get drummed, just beaten up by New Orleans on the road. And that happens when you go see Drew Brees in his dome. But the fact of the matter is you've got a coach who, before the season, got indignant when people were asking about 7-9 and started cursing about it. And it's like, you're in a tough division. And Arizona's fallen back, and you're still not making ground. San Francisco, they've looked better. Kaepernick's looked better at quarterback, but they're still losing. So you go on down the line. In Seattle, even though they're exposed, they had an awful game on the road against Tampa, but they're not running away and hiding. Yet you're still sitting at 4-7, and your offense, for a few of your wins, put up 10 points.
Dude, it's going to be 4-8. They do play the Patriots this week, right?
Well, that's right. They are 13.5-point dogs, even with the Patriots as banged up as they are. Team that a lot of balls left on the turf that are would-be touchdowns and could have been a blowout situation against the Jets. But in the end, they sweat it out. They get their win. But, here in Los Angeles, this is tasty on so many levels. You got media members calling on media members. You got folks just taking audio and claiming it as their own. It's really been a fun couple of nights. And when on Monday night, you're thinking, hey, we're going to break down a little bit of Wentz versus Rodgers. We've got a bunch of juicy stories elsewhere. Eric Dickerson comes on early. We think he's going to do the same thing. Hey, unnamed executive. And he just went at it for 15 minutes because Jeff Fisher had taken to the podium and denied any of that.
Well, you always hate when the other side lies. That's when you dig in, right? I mean, you can stand for a lot of stuff, but when you're being lied about, that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, it really went next level. So now all of a sudden we're in the middle of this. It's been a fun run for us watching it picked up and quoted and hearing our voices with Eric says, he was very animated with us. Got very, the more he talked, more upset about what the situation is and how the franchise that, he started his career with and holds so in such high regard and claims as his, with his Hall of Fame jacket, that it's been managed as it is for so many years. It finally boiled over in this, what should have been a simple exchange for what is the face of your franchise.
He is Mike Harmon. He is the Swollen Dome out on Twitter as well as at Fox Sports Radio. Working out of Los Angeles, fighting out of Chicago, and talking all around America. It's certainly, I did your gig, right? For 2.5 years, I did the national gig back at the turn of the century. Back when I was a younger man at Sporting News Radio. And I remember when these sort of firestorm topics began. And, I do a different gig around here. I really enjoy what I do. People seem to enjoy what I'm doing, which is talking to people I like about sports and some level of intelligent discourse, especially given the political season we just went through. But the Thursday night football debate, boy, this is juicy. There's a lot of meat on the bone here, and the first one would be, when ever has Roger Goodell given money back to anyone regarding anything? And I have not figured out why this was floated this week, other than the fact that, everyone hates it. The fans hate it. The players hate it. The coaches hate it. The owners probably deep down hate it because the coaches and the players hate it. It's the most hated thing the NFL has done, quite frankly, this side of moving the team from St. Louis to L.A. without, lying to everyone about it, basically. But this is the one that's in front of you every Thursday night. The football sucks. It was a horrible, ill-conceived idea from a health standpoint, from a football standpoint. But they're making a lot of money on it. And now the notion that they would get rid of it, well, why? What would they then do to recoup that money? that they need, obviously.
Well, and that's the larger thing. You saw how quick they were to point out, no, this isn't under consideration. But, you always have leaks on stories like this, and you start wondering what exactly is the long-term play. You've got a couple of years left on the contract that makes you a ton of money. We could talk all day about what are the problems with the product on a Thursday night, and you don't even have to go into the player safety side.
Well,
of
it's
it.
everything.
Right?
It's just,
that's just a part of it. You
guys that aren't prepared to play. It's coming into you doing sports radio at 3:30 in the morning when they wake you up at 3:20 and say go. It's probably not going to be very good. Literally.
Right. Well, yeah. You get a couple of days. Any guy that's injured, you're done. Right. You look at Andrew Luck this past week going into Thanksgiving Day in a huge game against the Steelers. He had 2.5 days to try to recover from a concussion. Now, as much as the NFL has also told teams to stop talking about concussions, that's a whole other issue for another time. But when you're talking about losing a marquee player in a marquee spot because of a short week, and in a game that's so meaningful in both divisions and for the AFC playoff race, and Scott Tolzien, he did his damnedest, but the fact of the matter is your offensive line is a turnstile and your running back is falling forward. His best efforts have been out of the backfield as a receiver of late, and you lose Hilton to an injury, which is aggravated from a couple days prior, and you look on the other side, and the Steelers get a rollover win, more or less. So when you're talking about competitive product, you're usually looking at these divisional games, which, as Jason and I have argued on the show on Fox Sports Radio, it's the equivalent of telling me here are a couple of middling teams from a division you don't care about in college football on a Thursday night. Because unless you've got fantasy or gambling implications, a lot of those teams you really don't care about. And it's another day of football. It's like, let's see, I'm already in front of my couch and ticking off my significant other or my family by watching football all day, or in our business, that means you're disappearing in front of the couch with a notebook, but you're still out of pocket all day. Now add Thursday, you add the college football slate, you add Monday Night Football, it starts to add up, and people get a bit of fatigue. But when the product's bad and the storyline out of Thursday is as ill-prepared as the players usually are, the referees seem to have even less of a clue, and they end up becoming a big part of the conversation as well. So a big thing for the NFL to talk about, but it becomes one of those CBA kind of, all right, we'll dangle this. What else can we get from you? And to this point, the players have already given up an awful lot. They don't have any more fighting points left.
Mike, we got football happening this weekend here, and it's actually a pretty decent brand of football right now. Ravens and Dolphins. It's a pretty good game. We wouldn't have looked at the Dolphins before the season and said, well, beware them. They're on a 6-game winning streak. Some of it's been a little paper thin, I'll give you, as has their offensive line. The Ravens have had their struggles, but we're sitting here with a chance to win the division and play a home game, maybe against the Chiefs, the Broncos, whoever it would be in a wild card situation. But this is where you want to be, even if you don't love all the parts of the road that got you here, right?
No, that's the bottom line. Is you can't change the schedule that's in front of you. There's a lot of things to absolutely hate about the Miami team when you just watch it on paper, and you look at their third down inefficiency, but they've been efficient on defense, and the defense has risen up a little bit, the front seven. The offensive line, as you say, having its issue. How much do you trust Ryan Tannehill when it's all said and done? You got a banged-up Devontae Parker. Jarvis Landry's been more or less just a guy in terms of his target count the last couple of weeks, but here they are on a roll. The schedule sometimes does you some favors. On the other side, you're looking at the Ravens, 3 wins in their last 4, all division games, taking advantage of opportunities as they come, like whether someone's hurt or whether, it's just one of those odd days of football as we've seen so many over the course of this season. You take the wins as they come. You got a solid defense giving up just a little bit on the ground. And when you look at total defense, 4th in the NFL at 18.3 points per game, the point differential isn't anything to write home about. But you know what? All you got to win is by 1. Style points don't matter. You're not trying to get into a college football playoff. You get to earn it on the field.
Mike Harmon is the Swollen Dome out on Twitter as well as at Fox Sports Radio. Breaking some big news on the Eric Dickerson story out in Los Angeles this week. Congrats on your big-time scoopage out there on the national radio front, and I'm sure we'll be talking more about some college football denials and fifth team in and all that. That's coming next week, right?
Oh, that's all coming up. Yeah, we this next week between conference championship games and all the wrangling that goes down. I just love that it's really just a glorified TV show and has been for all these weeks. And now people are really getting put into their corners and they're going back and finding the abacus and coming up with every stat they can. The Dickerson thing in its entirety at foxsportsradio.com. You got a full 15 minutes of him, including a couple of bleeps. And then Jay Glazer was on with us for a couple minutes last night. And he goes, "Hey, congrats on the scoopage." And I felt like a made man. I felt like there should have been some kind of good ceremony.
There should have been some oil and some water and some blessings of some kind, yes.
Well, as long as I didn't get whacked like Pesci at the end of it, I was okay.
Be careful. I know Glazer.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you, he's quick like a cat.
I've seen the commercials, absolutely. Hey, man, it's great having you on, as always. Great visiting. Sorry we didn't get together when we were in L.A. We were ships passing on a freeway with a lot of traffic.
There you go, brother. It's good. We've got plenty more opportunities, and eventually I'm going to work my way east. It's time for this next year. I got to get back on that training camp circuit. I missed the dorms.
World tour. Come on back. We'll have you.
Let's get it, brother.
It's only 98 with humidity here. You'll love it.
Well, I might sweat off a few of the ugly pounds I get from sitting on my butt soaking up sunshine.
Oh, but no one talks sports better than you, Harmon. Great having you on, buddy.
Appreciate you, brother. Talk to you soon.
You got it. He is the Swollen Dome out on Twitter as well as at Fox Sports Radio with scoopage out this week on the Eric Dickerson story out in L.A. Good man, good pal. Go follow him out on Twitter. You'll have some fun. You can find me in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from wherever you are. Morning newspaper ships at 7 a.m. to your email inbox courtesy of Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Still $10 a month. Go to Planet of Triumphs. Trust me, you'll want to lose weight and get in the gym January 1st. You're going to need to work off all that eggnog. I did get a little eggnog earlier this week. Guilty as charged. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and streaming live on Facebook Live as well as on our YouTube WNSTV channel. And our tech service is there for you. Standing on the edge of the next breaking news piece. It'll happen first on the WNST tech service. No spam, no crap, only breaking news, all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Dennis Colossus will be here, bringing you home on Thursday from 3 until 5. It is the SSV on WNST. And what else do I have for you? Oh, Zach Orr and Anthony Levine joining us on Wednesday night at Christopher Daniel and Timonium. I'm working without notes, folks. Thursday night, we'll have Dennis Pitta at a Greenmount Station. We're swabbing for the Bone Marrow Registry, and for There Goes My Hero. A couple of live Raven shows this week with more to come as I inch ever so closely to my 25th anniversary on December 13th. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.